beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are having an amazing, marvelous, and magnificent day or night. And if not, I hope your day or night gets better. My name is TatiV, and if you're a true crime lover like me, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you very much. So before we get into today's video, I just want to share two things with you all. One, I do have a podcast on Spotify. It's not an ASMR. It is called Talk True Crime to Me. I will leave that link down below. If you're interested, you can check it out. I also want to shout out the first comment winner, Riley Lemming. Shout out to you for being the first comment winner, and if any of you guys want to be shouted out in one of my future videos, please don't forget to leave a comment, being the first one to comment, and you can be shouted out in one of my future uploads. So today's video, as you can see by the title, we are going to be whispering about the Chuck E. Cheese murder. I'm not sure what I want to title this video yet, but something along the lines of a Chuck E. Cheese murder. This case took place back in December of 1993. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, some water, some wine, whatever warms your little heart, and enjoy some crime time. Warning, this video may contain details of graphic content. This channel is for mature audiences only. Some viewers might find this disturbing. Before we get into detail into today's case, I just want to give a little historic knowledge on what Chuck E. Cheese is. If some of you don't already know, formerly known as Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater, is an American children's family entertainment place that was founded in 1977 by Nolan K. Bushnell. Chuck E. Cheese has arcade games, musical shows, photo booths, ball pits, crawl tubes, and animatronic shows. The mascot of Chuck E. Cheese is a friendly rat or mouse. Chuck E. Cheese was the first ever family restaurant to combine food and arcade games together. The first location opened in San Jose, California. As of 2023, there are 569 corporate and franchise locations around the world. They are located in 47 states across the United States and in 17 countries and territories around the world. Chuck E. Cheese has been through a lot of ups and downs, just like any other business, so I'm not going to go into detail of every little thing that has taken place. Now that you have a little insight of what Chuck E. Cheese is, let's get into how this fun and exciting place turned out to be the scariest place to be on the night of December 14th, 1993. Nathan Gerard Dunlap was born on April 8th, 1974. He was raised by his mother and his adoptive father. Nathan never knew or had a bond with his biological father. He bounced around quite often, moving to Chicago, Memphis, Michigan, and finally settling down in Colorado in 1984. Aurora, Colorado to be exact. His mother struggled with mental issues. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. At age 14, Nathan was tested by his high school psychologist, and it was determined that he showed signs of hypomania. Hypomania is a condition in which you have a period of abnormally elevated or extreme changes in your mood or emotions. Nathan attempted to take himself out twice during this time. At the age of 15, he committed multiple armed robberies by using various weapons, which included firearms and a golf club. He spent some time in the juvenile detention center. He was sent to a psychiatric hospital after suffering an unpredictable was released, he didn't learn his lesson and he began selling narcotics. He was arrested 5 different times on misdemeanor offenses in 1993. In May of 1993, at age 19, Nathan began working at his local Chuck E. Cheese as a cook. During 1993, this location at 12293 East 11th Avenue, Aurora, Colorado. Nathan and one of the supervisors had some conflict about him working additional hours beyond his scheduled shift, which eventually got him terminated. Witnesses stated that he was very upset about the termination and told a former co-worker that he wanted to, quote, get even, end quote. On Tuesday, December 14th, 1993, Nathan entered the Chuck E. Cheese at 9 p.m. He ordered a ham and cheese sandwich, played some arcade games, talked with an employee that just finished his shift, and called his girlfriend. During this time, they were closing, so he hid in the men's restroom until 10 p.m. While Nathan was in the bathroom, the last 5 customers left and closing time began. As Nathan exited the bathroom at 10:05 p.m., he ran into 19-year-old Sylvia Crowell, who was cleaning the salad bar. He shot her close range in or near her right ear. Sylvia didn't even see it coming. Nathan turned his attention to 17-year-old Benjamin Grant, who was vacuuming at this time. Benjamin was fatally shot near his left eye. He turned his attention to 17-year-old Colleen O'Connor. When she was approached, Colleen dropped down to her knees. She begged for her life, stating, quote, "Don't shoot, I won't tell," end quote. Nathan replied, quote, "I have to," end quote. He proceeded to shoot her through the top of her head. Just 3 hours before her fate, her parents called her to let her know she was getting a car, but unfortunately, she would not get it. 20-year-old Bobby Stevens wasn't even scheduled to work that day. He stopped by the restaurant to see if he could pick up some extra hours, and they put him to work. At that time, he had a 7-month-old baby, and the holidays were coming up. Bobby re-entered the Chuck E. Cheese after taking a smoke break. He didn't think much of the popping noises. He just assumed the noise was from balloons popping nearby. Bobby continued his duties, which included him unloading dishes from the dishwasher. Nathan walked through the kitchen and shot Bobby in the jaw. Bobby played dead and Nathan continued on, entering the office of the store manager. 50-year-old Marge Kohlberg was the manager on duty that night. When Nathan approached her, he forced her to unlock the safe. After she did, he shot her in the ear. While he was taking the money out the safe, he noticed Marge was still moving, so he shot her again in her opposite ear. He dumped all of Marge's items out of her purse on top of her body and loaded her purse with the cash he just stole. While all of this was occurring, Bobby Stevens, the guy who played dead, escaped through the back door and walked to a nearby apartment complex. He pounded on someone's door to alert them that he and a few others had been shot at the Chuck E. Cheese. Nathan ran off with $1,500 in game tokens. The manager that Nathan targeted wasn't even working that day. When investigators arrived on the scene, they discovered 2 bodies in the hallway and another one in the manager's office. Sylvia was still alive and she was rushed to Denver General Hospital. She was announced as being brain dead. The next day, she died from her injuries at Aurora Regional Medical Center. After Nathan left the Chuck E. Cheese, he went to some nearby apartments where his friend Carl lived. He told Carl what he had done, stating, quote, "I did it, Chuck E. Cheese," end quote, and proceeded to count the stolen money. Afterwards, he went to his girlfriend's house named Tracie. Now, let's talk about Tracie for a second. Tracie allowed him in her house, and she allowed him to take a shower, which resulted in her being charged with harboring a fugitive. She spent a couple of years in a boot camp for troubled children. She went on a podcast where she talked about the incident. The podcast that Tracie was featured on is called Back from Broken. I will leave the link in the description box. I highly recommend you guys check out that podcast because she really dives deep into what actually happened that night and why she allowed Nathan to come in her house after he just murdered 3 people. What's very eerie about this case is when first responders arrived, they couldn't get the music or the animatronics to stop playing. Nathan's mother, Carol Dunlap, heard about the shooting. Both of her sons had worked there, so she went to the scene of the crime. Carol called her son and told him that she was at the Chuck E. Cheese with the police and he needed to come there now. When Nathan came to the scene, he informed officers that he had left the Chuck E. Cheese between 9 o'clock and 9:20 p.m. 12 hours after the murders, police went to Nathan's house to arrest him. Nathan took the police to a gym bag outside of his mother's apartment building that contained a semi-automatic weapon, 6 rounds of ammunition, and a pair of gloves. Nathan was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, first-degree burglary, aggravated robbery, and theft. On January 12, 1996, the trial began and lasted for 6 weeks. On February 28th, the trial went into the penalty phase. On March 7th, the jury returned with 4 verdicts of death. On May 17th, Nathan was sentenced to death on 4 murder counts, and he would serve 113 years consecutively for the other counts. Carl, Nathan's mother, released a statement stating, quote, "I want the victims' families to know that I am in as much pain, if not more. And I want them to understand what I mean by that my son is accused of committing 4 brutal murders, and I have to deal with the rumors and innuendos. They're in my prayers, and I hope we're in theirs," end quote. Sylvia Crowell's older brother attempted to make an impact statement, but was continuously rudely interrupted by Nathan. Sylvia's brother tried to make this incident a hate crime, stating, quote, "You did a lot of this for racial reasons, Nate. The black man has been trying to raise up from oppression," end quote. Nathan rudely interrupted him by proving that he wasn't racist. He stated he always had white people around him. Nathan made a few outbursts, which eventually caused him to be escorted out the courtroom. In 2008, Nathan filed a habeas corpus petition with the federal district court. A habeas corpus is a lawsuit that a person can file to report an unlawful detention or imprisonment. Nathan's argument was that his trial attorney was ineffective by not presenting a defense on his mental health issues and child abuse. His petition was rejected in August of 2010 because Nathan was fairly tried, competently represented, justifiably sentenced to death. On May 1st, 2013, Judge William Sylvester set Nathan's execution date in August of that year. On May 22nd, 2013, Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper granted clemency against executing Lathan. The reprieve meant as long as John Hickenlooper was governor, Nathan would not be executed. The reprieve also meant that unless a governor issued a new executive order, the status of the execution and clemency requests would remain on hold. On November 6, 2018, Jared Polis was elected as Colorado's governor. During his campaign, he expected to sign a bill canceling the death penalty in Colorado in regards to the Dunlap case. On March 23, 2020, Governor Jared Polis signed a bill canceling the death penalty. Governor Polis also reduced 3 different men's sentences, which included Nathan to life without parole. He is currently serving his sentence at the Colorado State Penitentiary in Cannon City, Colorado. I just want to talk about the sole survivor, Bobby Stevens, very quickly. In an interview not too long after the shooting, he recalled Nathan approaching him just before shooting him with a smile on his face. He also stated, quote, running through an area and seeing bodies and everything else. Those are images you'll never lose. Those stay with you no matter what, end quote. 19 years after the shooting, another deadly massacre took place in Aurora, Colorado in 2012. The movie theater shooting. I also did a video on that case, so please check it out. Anyway, in 2012, Bobby Stevens spoke out regarding the movie theater massacre. He stated, quote, "It did hit me, to be honest with you. The survivors from the shooting should expect to feel confusion, then anger and guilt in the month and years ahead." He encouraged them to seek counseling, lean on family and friends, and stay as busy as possible. As you all can imagine, Bobby Stevens will forever struggle with hearing loud noises. A few years after the shooting, he returned to the Chuck E. Cheese since the incident. It was his nephew's birthday. He stated the restaurant's design changed a lot. One of the employees began vacuuming, and that's when he said he lost it. Another incident, he visited a 7-Eleven. A kid overinflated his bike tire, which resulted in the tire popping, making a loud sound. Bobby instantly hit the floor. He moved to Arizona to escape it all, but someone there recognized him as well. He felt he had no other choice but to attempt to take his own life. Thank goodness he didn't. I am a firm believer that God has plans for Bobby. After the incident, the Chuck E. Cheese remained open. The CEO hired guards to stand in different areas of the restaurant to help ease the paranoia of the employees and customers. Today, the building that once housed a place where a kid